I just want to let you know that I just shared the transaction coordinating folder with you. So you should have access to this folder. Also created a video on how to input all this data. You don't necessarily need to do anything at this point. I used your file as the file for the video. But in this folder, this is all the stuff for the transaction coordinator and us as well. We've got our passwords here. We've got our agent referral agreement here. We've got wiring instructions for title. We've got our buy-sell contracts that aren't CTM. They're just our direct-to-seller ones, and then our assignment of contract. So all this stuff is what the transaction coordinator uses as well. So if there's anything else that you need the transaction coordinator to have access to, you can just drop it in here. So whenever you put a property under contract and you're 100% sure we're going to be closing on this property, you can start moving this through the transaction coordinating process. Yeah, and when I say you're 100% sure we're closing, either A, we are definitely going to close no matter if we get an investor or not, or B, we already have an investor buyer lined up on a contract. Okay, so if you have a property and you're not sure that we're going to close, don't assign this to a transaction coordinator only until you are positive that we're moving it through, because this costs us $50 just to set up the file. In addition, we don't want to bother title with all this work that isn't going to be closing, right? We want to be very easy to deal with from title perspective and our transaction coordinator. So we only want to assign them files that they're actually going to get paid on. All right. So now that's not to say if a file falls through, it falls through, right? We can't help that, but we try to prevent as much as that as possible. So you get a file and you want to go ahead and you're sure you want to go ahead and start moving this through the process. So you want to go to the checklist, and we've got our template here. So I already set up your file here. Let's just go into this and I'll show you what I did. All right, so you've got the address here. Here is the web form that you fill out. Again, you don't need to do any of this. I've already did it. And then here is the how-to video on how to fill out the web form, do the checklist. So in this particular file, I've already checked off the things that we know. So you have to tell her what account all this paperwork is under, what contract it's under, and then that you filled out the TC form. So with this checklist, you already know what's been done on my side, your side, etc. So as you get a contract from an investor, you want to load that in docs management. As we get earnest money receipts, we want to load those in. And as we line up the investor, we'll want to put them in the contact sheet in eContacts as well. So, and then assign a title, which I've already done. The transaction coordinator takes care of the rest of the stuff, which is basically the point of contact from there on out on the file. So when we line up our properties with our investors and with our sellers, let them know that our transaction coordinator is going to be in touch and that they are the best point of contact for initial questions on any of this stuff. That she'll be more responsive than us, so that helps direct everybody to the transaction coordinator instead of she can do her job. When I first got started with her, I ran into a lot of issues with people still wanting to deal directly with me on everything, right? And I've really had to steer people to her by saying, hey, look, I have a transaction coordinator. She does all my paperwork, and please reach out to her for anything regarding the file, regarding this contract first. Reach out to her first. If she can't handle, if she doesn't have the answer to it, of course, contact me. But she's going to have 95% of the answers, and she's going to be more responsive than me. So direct everybody to her. It'll take a lot off your plate, especially when it comes to paperwork, right? So just make sure to make a conscious effort to inform the investor that we're assigned to this property and the seller and the seller's agent, right? So that way they know that this is our point of contact on the file moving forward. So as you can see, she has a checklist that she's followed. So anytime you want to log in and take a look at the file and see where it's at, you can log in. So like you can see right here on the Newland property what she's already done. And so there doesn't really need to be any communication between us. If I have any questions about where the file's at, I can just log in and see what's going on here, right? I try not to get bombarded with emails. As a property closes out, you can see that it's closing out. I think she's still got a couple more things she needs to do here. So looks like I think she already did that, but so she pretty much handles all that all the way through. And when it's closed out, she'll drop it in the close folder. One other thing I want to bring up, when you're creating a template, you'll just go into the template and then you'll just go right here and you'll just make a copy. All right, so when you make a copy, that copy will show up and there it was. There it is. And then you can go in and rename this the new file name. So that's it. That's setting up the files. If you have any more questions, just go to the how-to link. But everything's here, so hit me back with any questions.